Oh, my name is Doug Timbrock. I'm going to be looking at, in this video, a portion of SAP QM Sample Management. We're going to be focusing on the retain or reserve sample portion of the sample management. We'll start with looking at the master data required. I'm going to go through the menu path: quality management, quality planning, basic data, sample. Sample drawing procedure is the key master data for activating sample management. But then there's a key part inside that master data that we'll look at. I set up a new sample drawing procedure called Z1. It has 3 samples will be pulled and 1 reserve. If I highlight that, go to sample drawing item, we'll see my first primary. I have 3 samples are going to be pulled, and on my reserve sample I'm going to pull 1. So we'll get the capability of having 3 labels printed and real clear that 3 are for the lab to use and 1 is for retain. I'm going to back out of here and go to the inspection plan that's linked to the material and inspection plan. QP02, looking at this material. I happen to know it's this third task list type here, and if I go to the header, you'll see I attached the Z1 sample drawing procedure, which is the 3 samples and 1 reserve for this material. So now if I go and create a manual inspection line, so I'm going to close up the master data, go over to quality inspection lot, processing, create for that material we just looked at, and for manual 89 inspection lot, and put the quantity in that we're inspecting, and it just found the inspection plan down here. When I hit enter, I'm going to hit save. Now behind the scenes, if I go ahead and the inspection lot was just created, but also because sample management is on, we'll also have sample management records as well, sample records. So if I do QA02 on this inspection lot that was just created, and go to sample tab, so this is the inspection lot, and if I see now that this is not grayed out, that I can, or shaded out, I can hit that tab, and you'll see here we got 4 samples generated. These are specific records for sample management, and this type here, or excuse me, this category here, the 1 stands for primary and the 3 stands for reserve. So we have 3 primaries so the lab can use for testing, and 1 reserve sample so we can send to the reserve or retain sample storage location. So now I'm going to back out of here. So that's what happened on the front end. By getting the inspection lot, the samples are now pulled, they're brought to the lab. They were still in quality inspection, sample management. These are the folks that use the program for checking in the samples into the lab, and also for storing the reserve samples or retain. I'm going to go to QPR2, change the sample. I happen to have in front of me the sample number that has the reserve on it. Reserve sample. We have this printed right on the label, so we know this one is supposed to go into retain and reserve, whatever you call it in your business. We then go over to physical sample storage location tab and assign a storage location. This is the larger overall location, and then a sample location where within the rows, or where within your retain area are you storing this sample. And this is where a lot of work is done up front, identifying, or if you've got a real good naming scheme for your retain already, we can use that naming structure inside SAP. You're going to want to create the storage locations. If it needs to be redone, you can do that at that time, but we have the opportunity now to really have rows and shelves and be able to get right to these samples that we have to pull at times when there are samples in question, batches in question. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to be in row A or aisle A, row 1, section 1. I can put any text I might want to say at that point. You are gonna want to put when the sample is going to expire. In this case, is 2017 in this example. And I'm going to check the button that I physically stored it in that location. So now when I hit save, that information can stay there, and I can run my program here, QPR7, maintain storage information. I can run this a lot of different ways. I can look for items that are getting ready to expire within the next 30 days. I can look for specific storage location, what's in that location. And so then once you get in the screen, you can then slice and dice these samples that are stored in the storage locations. So that is the power of SAP Retain Sample. And then when you get ready to take your sample and no longer have, let's say a week before expiration you're pulling, and then when you finally are letting the system know that it's no longer in the storage location, you can go to QPR2, change back to that retain physical sample storage button and say sample no longer exists. So you're always running the reports looking for not equal and no longer exists, unless you for some reason want to go back and look at those. So that is SAP Retain Sample Management. Real powerful. If you look at your storage locations now, your retain area, this can be taken care of really well within SAP Sample Management.